There's something different about Ninja Gaiden compared to almost probably every other action franchise. Most action games want you to feel powerful, right? Ninja Gaiden wants you to earn it. Which is, we think that's why people still talk about it with this weird level of respect. Almost like survivors remembering a war instead of players remembering a game. The original titles were brutal, they were fast, relentless. Enemies didn't politely wait their turn to attack you. Bosses punished hesitation instantly. Every fight, in fact, felt dangerous no matter how skilled you became. And that intensity is exactly why the rumors surrounding a full Ninja Gaiden remake now has started getting people genuinely excited again. Because right now, Team Ninja's finally treating the franchise seriously again for like the first time in many years. After the surprise release of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, Rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5 and the official announcement of Ninja Gaiden 4, well, it suddenly feels like the entire series is now coming back to life overnight. And once that happened, fans immediately started asking the obvious next question, which is if Ninja Gaiden 2 can get rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5, what happens to the original game? Because to many longtime fans, the first modern Ninja Gaiden still represents a solid franchise. The man himself entering the dark world filled with demons, ancient clans, cursed cities, and non-stop violence still feels legendary even today. But technology has of course changed dramatically ever since. Combat systems evolve, animation systems evolve, environmental designs evolve. Now players are imagining what that original experience could become if rebuilt completely with modern hardware behind it. And honestly, well, the potential is kind of insane. Because unlike many other action games, Ninja Gaiden already had the foundation of something timeless. The combat still feels aggressive and technical even by modern standards. The atmosphere still holds up, Ryu himself feels iconic, and what limited the experience was mostly just technology. And so a remake could finally remove those limitations, and Team Ninja seems fully aware that fans want exactly that. Recent discussions online, especially after the success of the Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, show pretty enormous community demand for a modern rebuild of the first game specifically. Many actually even argue that the original deserves the remake treatment more than any other entry because of how influential it was to action gaming as a whole. That makes sense, because the original Ninja Gaiden Black wasn't just difficult, it was precise. Every movement mattered, every dodge mattered, every mistake got punished instantly. That style of combat created tension naturally because survival depended entirely on skill rather than just RPG progression or overpowered builds. Modern gaming honestly misses that feeling sometimes, and a remake could bring it back in a huge way. Like imagine Ryu rebuilt with modern animation technology, faster movements, seamless wall running, dynamic dismemberment systems, combat encounters where enemies attack aggressively from like every direction without slowing down for cinematic pacing. That's what Ninja Gaiden should feel now. Chaos, you barely survive. No power fantasy, pure survival through skill. And visually, of course, Unreal Engine 5 of course could make the world itself look unbelievable. Ancient temples illuminated by moonlight, whatever. The original game already had this incredible atmosphere for its era. But now the environments could finally feel fully alive and instead of just limited by wooden hardware. And importantly, Team Ninja seems deeply aware of that right now, that the franchise's identity matters. During discussions surrounding Ninja Gaiden 4, developers reportedly emphasized preserving the hardcore feel and fast-paced brutality the series is known for. That's extremely important, because fans do not want Ninja Gaiden softened. They don't want another easy cinematic action game pretending to be hardcore. They want fear, pressure, the feeling that every enemy on screen is genuinely dangerous. And honestly, well, we understand that's what separates Ninja Gaiden from franchises like the later Devil May Cry games or Bayonetta. Those games celebrate style and expression. Ninja Gaiden celebrates survival under pressure. It's pretty fast, but not flashy in the same way. Brutality matters more than spectacle. A remake could push that identity even further now. Enemy AI alone could completely transform encounters, smarter enemies coordinating attacks dynamically, boss fights adapting more aggressively to player behavior. That would make every fight feel unpredictable. And that unpredictability is where Ninja Gaiden becomes terrifying in like just the best way possible, because players should never feel truly comfortable with this game. Now, another reason these remake rumors keep gaining traction is because Team Ninja itself seems to be going through a major resurgence lately. Between Nia, Rise of the Ronin, Ninja Gaiden 4 and the Unreal Engine 5 rebuild of Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, the studio suddenly feels confident again after years of inconsistency. Fans are noticing that energy. It feels like Team Ninja finally remembered what made their games special in the first place. Speed, precision, intensity. That's why a remake now feels believable instead of impossible. Because the franchise no longer feels abandoned, it feels active again. And honestly, modern audiences are probably more ready for Ninja Gaiden than they were years ago. The popularity of difficult action games exploded recently. Ninja Gaiden naturally fits that shift perfectly, especially if the remake leans fully into modern cinematic presentation while preserving the ruthless combat philosophy underneath it. That's right. Like, I don't know, imagine boss encounters rebuilt entirely from scratch. Alma with modern physics and visual effects, Doku towering over battlefields covered in rain and fire, fiend enemies moving faster and more violently than ever before, and of course there's also Ryo himself. That's another thing people forget sometimes. Ryo Hayabusa is still one of gaming's coolest protagonists when handled correctly. Quiet, focused, dangerous, he doesn't waste words because he doesn't need to. His entire personality comes through movement and action instead of long speeches and stuff. A remake could make him feel terrifying again, not just strong, efficient, like a man trained his entire life for violence, moving through enemies with absolute precision. That identity still works beautifully today because gaming honestly lacks pure ninja fantasy right now. There are samurai games everywhere, of course, open world RPGs everywhere, but true fast-paced ninja combat games almost none in scale except Sekiro or Nioh. That leaves a pretty huge opening for Ninja Gaiden to dominate again if Team Ninja handles this remake correctly. And importantly, well, they now have the technology to finally realize the scale and speed they always wanted originally. That's why people keep talking about this possibility, because they can already picture it clearly. Ryu standing on top of a rooftop during the rain, demons moving through the streets, steel reflecting moonlight, combat so fast it almost feels violent even to watch, and of course underneath all of this, the return of a franchise that never cared about making players comfortable in the first place. Because Ninja Gaiden was never built to make you feel safe, it was built to test whether you even deserve to survive that at all.